name's Dave. I'd like to give you some tips about how you can observe birds in your own backyard or from your window or from your balcony if you're in an apartment. The first one is these, your eyes. The second one is these, your ears. Most birds that are around us, we won't necessarily see them, but we'll often hear them. The third thing that you'll find very useful if you have a pair is a pair of binoculars. If you don't have any, don't worry, we can still observe birds without them, but if you do have them, you'll be able to get a much clearer view of the birds you see. If you have a camera, you may want to try to record on camera. And also, if you have a hand phone, then you can record the sounds that they make. Another thing that's very useful is a notebook and a pen or pencil to write down and record the things that you see and things like the date, the time, the weather. Three other things you'll need: time. You don't need a lot of time, but give yourself 10 to 15 minutes outside your house or looking out the window to give yourself a reasonable chance of seeing or hearing some birds. Another one is patience. Birds are not necessarily easy to see or hear, and you will need to wait and sit or stand quietly for some time. And the last thing you'll need is some kind of resource to help you to identify birds that you see. If you have a bird book in the house, that could be a start. But if you don't have a bird book, you have access to the internet, there's a very useful resource that will enable you to look at photographs of the commoner birds that you're likely to find in the garden, and also to listen to their calls and their songs. Early morning tends to be the time when the birds are most active. It's still cool. They're getting up after sleep. You can also look for birds in the late afternoon, again when the sun lower in the sky and it's a little cooler just before it gets to dusk. And even in the middle of the day, some birds, especially the birds that like to catch food in the air, are more active when it gets hot. And of course there's nighttime as well. There's very little traffic noise. It's an amazing time to go outside at night, listen to see what birds you can hear. If you have any water near you, such as a stream, a lake, a swamp, or you can see water from where you're standing, that's always a good place to look for birds. The second obvious place is trees and shrubs, bushes, especially if they're flowering or fruiting, and will stand a good chance to attract birds. Also, a lot of urban birds now are used to sitting on lampposts, rooftops, television aerials, so have a look around and see where the birds are perched up. Another area that you can look is actually on the ground. Some birds like to feed on the ground, especially if there's grass or even dry earth or flower beds. You'll find some birds like to spend their time on the ground. And then of course, the sky. There's always birds flying around in the sky. Of course, they are a little bit more difficult to identify because they're moving fast, but with a bit of practice, you'll be able to identify several species of birds that use the sky. That's all for this video, but I hope you'll join me for the next one when we'll be looking at some of the birds around my garden.